How many listeners? 4. What is first one? Solid context listener. First one, solid context listener. Second one, solid context attribute listener. Third one, HTTP session listener. Fourth one, HTTP session attribute listener. 4 listeners are there. Okay. Solid context listener, solid context attribute listener, HTTP session listener, HTTP session attribute listener. In a solid context listener, how many methods are there? 2 methods. What are those? Context initialized, context destroyed. When context initialized called? Whenever application is deployed. When context destroyed called? Whenever application is undeployed. Solid context attribute listener, how many methods are there? 3 methods. What are those? Attribute added, attribute removed, attribute replaced. When attribute added called? If you add the attribute to solid context, then attribute added called. Attribute removed, whenever removed attribute from context. The same concept, that is. Attribute added to context means attribute added called. Attribute removed from context means attribute removed called. Attribute changed means attribute replaced called. HTTP session listener, 2 methods. What are those? Session created, session destroyed. 2 methods. Whenever session is created, session created called. Whenever session is destroyed, session destroyed called. This is I didn't give, I think. Yesterday up to here over now. Next, last one. HTTP session attribute listener. Note down. It contains the following event handlers. It contains the following event handlers. It contains the following event handlers. To handle HTTP session binding event. Which is generated by web container. It contains the following event handlers to handle HTTP session binding event which is generated by web container. It contains the following event handlers to handle HTTP session binding event which is generated by the web container. I'll give the methods. Note down. It contains the following event handlers to handle HTTP session binding event which is generated by the web container. Attribute added, attribute removed, attribute replaced. Is it over? Attribute added, attribute removed, attribute replaced. But it is session related attribute. In a HTTP session, set attribute is that type. Context attribute different, session attribute different. Okay. Context attribute common to all servlets. Session attribute, whenever you log in until log out only it is maintained. No done. HTTP session binding event is generated by web container whenever attribute is added to HTTP session, whenever attribute added to session, comma, attribute is removed from session and attribute is replaced in a session. HTTP session binding event is generated by web container whenever attribute is added to session, attribute is removed from session, attribute is replaced in a session. So session memory allocated, no? Once server side session variable memory allocated. If you add, attribute added call. If you remove, attribute removed call. If this value modified, then attribute replaced call. Now, 4 listeners methods, 4 events I given. There are many are there. Writing program style is same. Suppose I'll give one task. For that, which event required you decide. Okay. I'll give one task. Which event required you decide. Say 4 listeners. In 4 listeners, all methods I given, events I given. Okay. HTTP's first servlet context listener. Servlet context listener. How many methods are there? 2 methods. What are those? Context initialized, context destroyed. Which event it generated? Servlet context event. Servlet context attribute listener. How many methods? 3 methods. What are those? Attribute added, attribute removed, attribute replaced. Which event generated? Solid context attribute event. Okay. HTTP session listener. How many methods? Two methods. What are those? Session created, session destroyed. Which event generated? HTTP session event. Here, HTTP session attribute listener. How many methods? Attribute added, attribute removed, attribute replaced. Which event? Binding event. It is binding event. Okay. Now, one task I'll give. Which one required? You give answer. Suppose it is server. One user entered. One user entered. Okay. Now, present how many users are there? One. One more user entered. How many users are there? Two users. One more user entered. Three. One more user entered. Four. One more user entered. Five. This user removed, disconnected. This user, now it will become 4. This user disconnected. Now 3. Present how many users are there? That count I want to display. Now here it is increasing, decreasing also. Okay. You have seen already how to count the number of views. Counting number of views program you studied, no? That program, count will increase only. But this count will increase also, decrease also, increase also, decrease also. Think yourself and give answer. Which listener required, which event generated, which method required, what we have tried. Think yourself and give answer. See, I given only 4. Only 4. Okay. Now, here, suppose context. If you take first one, solid context, if you take solid context event, when it is generated, application deployed, application undeployed, but not for user, no. That is not suitable. Attribute listener, if you take, when attribute added, attribute removed, attribute placed, then is it related to attribute? No. One more, HTTP session listener. User entered, nothing but logged in. User disconnected, I said word. That means logged out. Login, session created. Log out, session destroyed. Like that. User logged in means session created. I didn't use login, logout words. If I use login, logout word, everyone will identify. That's what I didn't use. But user entered means logged in. User disconnected means logged out. Entered, logged in, session created. Then session created method, session destroyed methods are there. No? Third one. In this, how many methods are there? 2 methods are there. Okay, 2 methods are there. In 2 methods, HTTP session listener, 2 methods are there. What are the method names? Session created, session destroyed. Session created, count plus plus. Session destroyed, count minus minus. That's it. It will count the number of users. Okay. When user logged in, count plus plus. When user logged out, count minus minus. Okay. Now, see how to use this program. Again, it's almost the same style. This solid context diagram you have seen, no? Almost same style. Here what we have to do? Here which method you have tried? Here, which method we have tried? Session created. Here, destroyed. Here count plus plus. Here count minus minus. That count value we have to place in session variable. We can retrieve. How many users are there? We can display. See here. Now session created. Session created. Okay. Session created. Here HTTP session event generated. Here count plus plus. Now here count plus plus we have tried. Here some other code you have tried to get the session variable. After that HTTP session dot set attribute. Attribute here something name whatever you want you can write. That is last class Oracle connection I given no. That Oracle place whatever you want you can write. I written Oracle. Okay, that is name whatever you want you can write. Here something I'm counting number of users. That's what users I'm writing. Here count variable I'm writing. Here session destroyed. HTTP session event HSC. Here count minus minus. Here we have tried some other code to get the session. HS dot set attribute. We have to modify the value no. Users count. No, it is listener. Okay, it is my listener.java. My listener.java. Here session. HTTP session memory. This count value placed here. Okay. Now here users count. This is also because it updated. So from this one also, when user logged in, count plus plus, value changed. User logged out, count minus minus, value changed. Here get attribute. HS dot get attribute. HS dot get attribute users. Then we'll get a count. The count comes now here. There are at present count users are accessing this server. There are at present count users. Count is a variable. If 5 is there, 5. 10 is there, 10. It shows. It is my solid.java. This is our task. When user logged in, count plus plus, count value. When user logged out, count minus minus. This latest count I'll display here. This is count variable I'll display. Okay, write this one. This is our task. Counting number of users. Counting number of views different. Counting number of users different. Counting number of views already one small program. In a service method count plus plus we written. This is different, that is different. So this method is executed whenever HTTP session is created. Okay. When user logged in, this is executed. When user logged out, this is executed. Here login, logout, nothing but session ID created means logged in. Session ID not created, session ID vanished means logout. But in the program, if you write HTTP session HS equal to like that, or get session also session ID created. Then user logged in. That means I'll show you in the example. Is it completed? Here from browser, I'll send the request to this solid. Here I'll write session. Then here one user logged in. Then count plus plus. Again I'll send request to this solid with another browser. Or the browser I'll close. I'll open another browser. Again request one more session. But by default, when session is vanished? After 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, automatically logged out, no? Then count minus minus it is executed. Otherwise, I'll set time interval 1 minute or 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, automatically vanish, no? Then count minus minus. It is called. Then exact latest count, you'll get it. Okay. See. Now, file, new, dynamic web project. Suppose HTTP session listener. Whatever you want, you can write. I'm writing HSL. Next. Next. Generate XML. Finish. Right click. New. Listener. HTTP session listener package name also. Class name. Suppose my listener. After this, next, we have to select this one. HTTP session listener. Next. Finish. Here. Okay. Now, count variable, if I write here, can we access here? Count variable, if I write here, can we access here? Then where you have to write? Instance variable. Integer count equal to 0. Okay. Integer count equal to 0. Now, here what we have to write? Count plus plus. Here what you have to write? Count minus minus. Okay. Here count is equal to 0. The 0 also no need to write. Default value 0 comes because instance variable. Now this is instance variable. How many ways to access? What are those? But is it valid here? How? Implicitly this dot count plus plus, this dot count minus minus. Now here it is HTTP session event reference. This is okay. Now I'll write HSE. Whatever you want, you can write. Now here also I'll write HSE. Now set attribute method in HTTP session. In this interface, in this class, one method is there, get session. See, HTTP session HS equal to HSE dot get session. With this, HS dot set attribute. Set attribute first parameter which type? Second parameter object type. Now set attribute. Here attribute users. I'm counting number of users. That's what users I'm writing. Here count. But users string format I passed. But count to which variable? Instance variable integer type. But actually here which type you have to pass? Object class. How is it valid? How it is valid? It is object. It will take object class. But myself I passed int. How it is valid? What is it? Now here actual parameter is object. Here I passed int. Is it valid or not valid? How it is valid? Auto boxing and upcasting. Two concepts are there here. This int converted to which type? How it will convert into object? Int converted to integer. Integer is a subclass of it is auto boxing. It is upcasting. Two features are there. Two concepts are there. Int converted to integer, auto boxing, and integer assigned to object, upcasting. Now two concepts are there here, auto boxing and upcasting. Okay. Here I am passing primitive data type. It is converted to corresponding reference data type. Okay. This is called auto boxing, and integer assigned to object class. That is called upcasting. So auto boxing and upcasting, two features are there in this line. Okay. See, it is okay. This set attribute. Here also set attribute you have to write. Again, same. HTTP session HS equal to HSE dot get session. Then HS dot set attribute. It is replaced. The value, if it is modified, latest value comes. Set attribute users count. Okay. Now here users count. Now latest value is going to be stored. Here it doesn't throw exception, not required. This is HTTP session. Okay. See here, whenever session is created, this method called count plus plus. That count placed in attribute, session attribute. Again count minus minus, count placed in count attribute. Okay. This is my listener.java. Note. Write this one, my listener.java. While sitting in a class, if you concentrate on mobile, attending class is waste. No use. Here, these all one package only. Just star I'll write better. Otherwise, already written means continue, not a problem. Already written means continue. Same package. Actually, individual only better. Instead of writing all many lines, I'm removing. That's it. So writing any listener, same style. You have to implement interface, you have to override methods. So set attribute method in HTTP session. For getting session, this get session method I'm calling. Is it over? Whenever session is created, session created method called. Whenever session is destroyed, session destroyed method called. Here, count will increase the value placed in session. Count will decrease the value placed in session. So in the session variable, count will be there. No, that count is updated again and again. Depends upon number of users, count will be updated. Okay. Is it over? Now we have to write one more program. My listener over my solid we have to write. Right click, new solid. HTTP session listener, my solid. Extends HTTP solid. Suppose this I'll write test. Whatever you want, you can write. Now, which type of request coming? By default, get only. Here. Now, HTTP session HS equal to request dot get session. When this line is executed, session ID created. So suppose from browser, I'll send the request to this program at server side. Then this line executed. Then session created. When session created, that program executed. That is deployment time not executed. That is different. No, another listen. No. So here get session method here. There also get session. Here also get session. But that is different. This is different. When this method is called, request method is called, then session ID created. So then session created, then their session created method called. I'll give a notes. Say it is server side, client side. One client will send the request. Then this line execute. Then session created. Then their count method called. Okay, count increased. One more client. You'll send the request to this program. Again, this line executed. Their count will increase. Again, one more client. Again, client will increase. When after time interval or whenever you click on logout, the logout, all those things I'm not writing, only time interval write. Then after time period automatically vanish, no? Automatically it is disconnected. Then count to minus. See here. For this, I want to set time interval. How to set time interval? HS dot max inactive interval. That is max age is cookie program. Okay. Here. Time interval. Integer format. Integer format means seconds. I'll make it 30 seconds. Okay. 30 seconds it will wait. After 30 seconds only vanished. That means even 1 minute also I didn't give. Okay, otherwise 1 minute I'll write. 1 minute, we can see the difference. 1 minute. So 60 seconds I given. 60 seconds, 1 minute. After 1 minute, automatically session destroyed. Now, when this line is executed, session created. Whenever this line is executed, session created. Okay. Now, whenever this line is executed, session created. Okay. Session created. Session created means the session created method called. Count will increase. After 60 seconds, session destroyed. Then session destroyed method called. Count minus. Now that count I want to retrieve. Get attribute method you can call. Return type is object. There string and object. Here object. But object place, if you want to write integer, possible, but explicit conversion required. Integer n equal to. You can write integer wrapper class or int also. HS dot get attribute. Attribute name what I given? Users. Whatever I given there, that one, this one must match. Now get attribute method returns object class object. Object class object explicitly converted to integer. That is called downcasting. Again assigned to int. This is called auto unboxing. Auto unboxing. Now this n I want to print. Print writer. Response dot get writer. pw dot println. At present there are count users accessing this server. Okay, count is a variable. So plus again plus double quotes. At present there are 2 users, 5 users, 6 users, like that it will display. Now for this you can add HTML, otherwise plain text displayed. Println HTML body PG color. What is it? N. Okay, sorry. Variable name n I given, no? N. Now H1 close, body close, HTML close. Now at present there are n users. At present there are 5 users accessing the server. At present there are 3 users are accessing the server, like that message comes. Now you observe. Right click, run as, run on server, save. These all I'll remove, only HSL, finish. Now test. How many users are there? 1. I'll close. Again I'll run. Test. How many users? 2. How many users? 3. If 1 minute is completed, one by one it decreased. 4. 1 minute not completed. Once if it is completed, it will decrease one by one. 5. 6. 7. Okay. Time 1 minute not completed till. If it is completed, one by one will decrease. 8. 5. That means already 4 users count finished. because every 1 minute it will one by one will destroy. Still, if you wait one more minute, these all will be destroyed. Then again starts with 1. Six. Previous still working. 1 minute. Every 1 minute, one by one destroyed. Okay. Now this program, my solid.java. I'll give a description, not completed. First write the program. My solid.java. by one more request password. But browser same, no? Same browser. One session ID created for browser. That is counting number of views, it is okay. It works. It is counting number of users. That means same user. If you refresh. Is it over? Here, get session method of HTTP servlet request. If it is called, session ID created. Okay, that notes I'll give. After time interval, session ID vanished. That means when this line executed, count plus plus. After time interval, count minus minus. Is it completed? Now note down. In the above example, not over. Note down. In the above example, session is created whenever get session method of HTTP servlet request is executed and session is destroyed automatically when after time interval 60 seconds. In the above example, session is created whenever get session method of HTTP servlet request is executed and session is destroyed automatically after time interval. Time interval 60 seconds I given. Is it over? But get session method in HTTP session event also is there. That is different. This is different. Okay. You observe in two programs. Here get session. It is HTTP servlet request. But here get session. It is HTTP session event. It is only for accessing purpose we are using. But session is created in this only. That's what I given notes here. What I given? In the above example, session is created whenever get session method of HTTP servlet request is executed. Not other get session, okay? Session is destroyed automatically. See, you will send the request. You will send the request to this program. This line executed. Then session created. This method called count plus plus. And this value placed in session variable. Again, that is retrieved here only. Get attribute. So actually what is happening, observe. First this line executed. Next this line executed. At the same time this program executed. With this again retrieved. So this value n from here only coming now. Here count increased, that is placed in a session variable, that is retrieved. Okay. After time interval, what will happen? Count minus minus. And again latest value updated. But this updated value it will not display. Again if we send request, then displayed. Okay. This is about listeners. Any listener, what you do, write the class, implements listener, override methods, whatever you want you can write. We are executing only servlet. We are not executing listener. Listener automatically executed. It is going to listen events. So always it will observe events. Always it will listen events which are going to be generated by web container. With that it will handle. Okay. Next concept, filters. Next topic, filters. Next concept, filters. Now, a filter is an object by which filter, 1 minute. You written, what you written? A filter is an object, complete. Okay. A filter is an object that can be, okay, that is next point actually. What exactly? I'll write this one also. You continue. A filter is an object that can be declaratively inserted in a container process. A filter is an object that can be declaratively inserted in a container process. Filter provides the only mechanism by which we can plug in code between request and response. A filter is an object that can be declaratively inserted in a container process. Filter provides the only mechanism by which we can plug in code between request and response. I'll explain, just write it. Servlet supports static dispatching, whereas filter supports dynamic dispatching. A filter is an object that can be declaratively inserted in a container process. Filter provides the only mechanism by which we can plug in code between request and response. Servlet supports static dispatching, whereas filter supports dynamic dispatching. First, these 3 points, I'll explain remaining points later. Is it over? See what I given say. A filter is an object that can be declaratively inserted in a container process. Programmatically means solid. Declaratively means XML. So with XML, we can insert the filter in a container process. Okay. Now filter provides the only mechanism by which we can plug in code between request and response. We can plug in, we can plug out, if that is possible with filter. But a solid filter, what's the difference is, it is static dispatching, filter support dynamic dispatching. See, suppose you studied solid forwarding, you studied, no? Solid forwarding, we forwarded like this. Suppose from here, first solid to second solid, forwarding. Second solid to third solid, forwarding. From client system, we are sending request to first solid. First solid executed, forwarded. Second solid executed, forwarded. Third solid executed, response comes. This is called solid forwarding. This already you studied. Okay. Now, this solid URL pattern you are writing here. This solid URL pattern you are writing here. Okay. Now, this solid URL pattern you are writing here. This solid URL pattern you are writing here. Like that, it will understand, it will forward. Suppose now here many solids we can write, many filters you can write. Now this filter to this filter or this filter to this filter, the links dynamically we can create with filters. But solid, what will happen? Fixed. While writing solid program, only you have to decide to which solid you want to forward. That URL pattern you have to write. That is passed to that solid. Again here, that solid. But these links dynamically we can create. That is filter. Here, and also suppose it is client, your request passed until you get a response. In between, if you want to insert one more filter, in between possible. If you don't want, you can remove, possible. So that mechanism is filter. Here what will be happen? We can plug in code between request and response. That means this is only server, client, you are sending request, you are getting response. In between, if you want to insert some code, you can insert. If you don't want, you can remove. That mechanism supported by filters. Dynamically we can plug in, dynamically we can plug out. That is possible with filters. But solids, to which solid you want to forward, to which solid you want to include, redirect, that information you have to write itself, there itself. But filters different. Dynamically we can use. So for that, this is called static dispatching. This is called dynamic dispatching. Where we use this mechanism, I'll show you. For example, one task I'll give that is possible with not possible with solids. You decide and give answer. Suppose it is here login page. It is mail login.html. Here username, password, submit and reset. Okay, just I'll write submit button. Submit. Whenever you click on submit button, one solid, something mail login solid dot java. It will receive your username and password. This username and password checked in database. Here database. Now, given username password exists. Okay, exist. I'll forward to mail solid. Suppose mail solid dot java. Else invalid. Invalid username or password. Okay. Now, same style, one more program. It is chart login. Charting program. Here also username, password. Here also username, password, submit button. When you click here, chart login. Chart login solid dot java. It will receive username, password. Received. It will check in the database. If exist, I'll forward to chart solid. It's another program. Chart solid dot java. Else invalid username, password. Now I'll ask question, give me answer. It is a mail program. It is chart program. This program code different, not same. Okay. It is mail program, mailbox program. It is chart box program. These two programs code is different. But mail login solid, chart login solid, is it same or different? Same. Okay. Here mail login.html, chart login.html, same. Here only one word different. Here form action equal to this solid URL pattern. Here forward URL pattern of this one. Here forward URL pattern of this one. URL patterns only different, no? Remaining code is same. Now what I want is, instead of writing two solids, I want to write one solid for both. Possible or not possible? If possible, what we have to change? Not possible, why not possible? With solids. Think and give answer. Now, first my question is clear. Here, two solids, same code or different code? Same code. Only one URL pattern only different. Here what we are writing? URL pattern of mail solid. Here what we are writing? URL pattern of chart solid. Instead of writing two solids, I want to write one solid for both. HTML, whatever you want, you can do. Log in solid, whatever you want, you can do. But I want to make it log in solid 1. If possible, what are the changes required? If not possible, why it is not possible? Possible? If possible, what are the changes required? What we have to check, what we have tried? Now, one solid, I'll write. Next. Think yourself and give answer. Possible or not possible, decide and tell me answer. Filter, leave it. Filter, I didn't explain. Don't filter, I didn't explain till solids only. My question is, with solids possible or not possible? If possible, what are the changes required? If not possible, why it is not possible? Filter, I'll explain. Filter not size. Filter only definition I given. Filter I didn't explain. Not possible also reason required. Possible also reason required. Okay. Only if you select not possible, it is better like that. Don't think. Not possible also, why not? Why it is not possible? Possible also, how it is possible? URL pattern. What you have read? If condition. What you have read? From from this HTML request comes forward to this one. From this HTML comes forward to this one. How will check? From that HTML came, how will understand? What you have read? Here what will do? Form action. Here form action. For both what will do? Action equal to one solid will write. Okay. Here action equal to this solid. Here action equal to this solid. But this submit button clicked or this submit button clicked, how will you understand? Two different HTML page, no? Then username password. Here username password, here username password. Do one thing. Decide. Tomorrow tell me. Tomorrow I'll continue. Tomorrow I'll explain. You think yourself and tomorrow give me answer. Tomorrow I'll discuss. Online students, 1 minute. Online students, one by one I'll clarify your doubts. Yeah, this program, whatever I given filters relate, just now I given, no, that is I'll discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll discuss. Tomorrow I'll discuss about that. Any other doubts are there? Harshit, in your browser, you are getting like this means in a get method, some code is there. That is you didn't remove. That's what that is displayed.